Neville has set out a 5-point plan to save Manchester United, and it's to reset the culture of Manchester United. And the first part of it is for the Glazier family to stop taking dividends. The Glaziers take anywhere between 12 to 18 million pounds of dividends annually out of the club. In 1 year, for a club like Man United, it's not a lot of money. But if you add up the past sort of 15-20 years of taking dividends, it amounts to anywhere between 300 to 400 million pounds. Now, every single bit of money that's used in a business has got an opportunity cost, and by taking 400 million pounds out of the business, you can't build a new stadium, you can't build a training ground, you can't invest in the best players. So number one, stop taking dividends. Number two, Gary Neville says sell £500 million worth of shares to the supporters to pay off the debt. I believe this is an amazing idea, actually, because again, the debt payment has an opportunity cost. Bear in mind, the initial debt that Manchester United had cost 19.75%, almost 20%. And only the genius of Sir Alex Ferguson selling Ronaldo, balancing the books, meant that United survived. The debt repayment is down to around 5% now, but that still amounts to around £25 million per year of interest payments. Again, along with the dividends, that amounts to around 40 to 60 million pounds of cash flowing out of the club, which could be spent elsewhere. Again, there's an opportunity cost with all money in a business, and when you have debt in a business, generally the balance sheet also improves. But in this instance, United have got the debt without the actual asset side of the balance sheet improving. So as a result, you've got all the bad bit of the debt without any good bit. So pay off the debt, give supporters a shareholding in the club would be a great idea. Number three, knock down Old Trafford, build a new stadium and sell the naming rights. Now, I know that'd be a controversial point to sell the naming rights. Barcelona have just done it and they've been pushed to do it because they're like over £1 billion in debt. Knocking down Old Trafford, building a brand new stadium, and also using all the land around Old Trafford to maybe build hotels and build other things to generate revenue for Manchester United may cost £1.5 to £2 billion at the moment. You could build a 100,000 seat stadium. You could build a number of hotels and hospitality areas, and then you could also probably build a conference centre, and you might even be able to build an arena to try and generate further revenue. Maybe an arena that holds sort of 25,000, or maybe even a stadium for the youth team and the women's team, stadium that holds say 15, 20,000. So that's number three, another great idea. Number four, build a new training ground to compete with rivals. United's training ground's like 22 years old. It was state of the art 22 years ago. It's not now. Google clubs even like Leicester. Look at Leicester's training ground. It's state of the art. It's unbelievable. And United need to build a new training ground, and that will probably cost around 200 to 300 million pounds. But then when you're showing players around, you can say, look, we've got state of the art facilities. I have a theory. Man United tried to sign Jude Bellingham, and he visited the training ground. Sir Alex met him, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer courted him. The United really wanted to buy him, but he turned down United. That's a fact. And if you'd had a state-of-the-art training ground, 100,000 stadium, you could have sold the club to him easy. Now you can say it's Man United, you shouldn't need to sell the club, but the club's fallen behind. The stadium is in disrepair. It looks good, but it's very, very old, and United aren't maximising their commercial opportunities around the stadium to have hotels, to have commercialisation, and to generate more revenue. So new stadium, new training ground needed. And the final one feeds into the other 4 points. You need to invest 100 to 150 million pounds a year in a sporting project. Now, United net spend is around £50 million a year. Do not be... There is a narrative in the media that United spend as much as other clubs. The players that they spend money on often are sold to balance the books, or often don't amount to anything. Now, a sporting project would mean that you have a director of football, you have a manager that has a 5-year deal, and you have a CEO that's football orientated, and you buy players that the manager wants for his system, for his style, over a 3 to 5 year period, and you don't buy any Galacticos, you don't buy any star players, and you give the manager time, and you enable the manager to have a style of play you know, whatever that style of players, and have a director of football that's purchasing the right type of players. And it's not very difficult. People say that United need to copy Liverpool. Liverpool have copied what United did for 20 years. You know, other clubs like Chelsea and Blackburn and other clubs, and even Liverpool at that period, spent a lot of money. But it's about buying the right type of players with a sporting project and having people in charge that actually understand football. Ralph Rangnick's a good first step, but Joel Glazier must be buying players, and Avram Glazier must be having his say on certain players, and it's not working because we're not buying the right players. So 100 to 150 million pounds into the sporting project. Those 5 points would reset Manchester United, and I assure you that Man United would challenge again. If they don't do this, Man United are in big trouble. It's been 10 years now since Sir Alex left. Sir Alex and David Gill papered over the debt and papered over their genius, their very savvy operation in the transfer market, and Sir Alex's genius papered over the Glazier ownership. The Glaziers are naked. 10 years, they've done nothing but waste money on debt, see the dilapidation of the stadium. And I use the word dilapidation purposely because it is a dilapidation, and it's not working. Without this 5-point plan, Man United are doomed to fail. Mark my words.